Now, good evening and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human record history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day as long as they touch the football world, but not in that way. I am just Zach Law. This is Sharona. Yes, I always say SCN and she corrects me. The Titans are in the mother flipping playoffs. And tonight I'm drinking a special tangerine juice.
Well, look at you.
I know.
I hope you enjoyed that.
What do you got in your chalice there? Wait a second. You were like, I'm going to have green tea tonight. Oh, yeah. Nice. Way to left turn on me.
I thought that it would be a prime opportunity for me to get you back.
Well, that's true, you know.
So I actually got some wine that I haven't had in a very long time. Very unexpected Christmas present. And so I am enjoying it. I should have brought the bottle over here. Maybe I'll go grab it in a minute. It's very tasty.
So last time we talked, and I'm going to keep the good luck charm, if it's a good luck charm, the headless. I have the head's in the closet with the other. I have every bobblehead my dad's given me for the Titans, and I don't really do anything with them. I should probably give them to someone who really likes them. Because there's a Steve McNair one, which is cool. I feel like they're going to run out, though, because they have, Eddie George, Steve McNair, Frank Wycheck, Keith Bullock. I'm like, man, that 2008 to 2000, last year era, there's not a lot of guys that they can use because they just didn't have, they've had, the Hall of Fame announcement, the finalists came out this week, and it's Titans even in the last 20 years haven't had that many Hall of Very Good consideration type guys. But I'll have you know, Sharon, I had one of my worst Twitter moments just happened last night.
Oh yeah, what happened?
It had to do with someone being announced for the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I posted something about the fact that the Titans and Titans fans were basically talking about these Hall of Fame nominees who barely ever played for them, if ever. Randy Moss was nominated. He played Titans for about, 4 weeks. Sharona's got the jersey still. Steve Hutchinson, I didn't even know if he actually made the team. He was really at the end of his career. Did he play a year?
I think he was a starter at guard for 2 years.
Wow.
But his last year, the decline was there. I'm pretty sure it was 2 years.
There's a sliding scale, and I'm interested how much fans do with this, because in baseball, they do put a hat on your head. You have to be assigned to a franchise for the rest of history. But in the NFL, they just put the guy's head on there. They don't really attach a guy to a team. Yeah. But teams definitely are trying to attach themselves to players. So I associated those two guys who didn't play with the Titans very long with another guy who was with them a little bit longer, Kevin Mawai.
Yep.
And I implied with my tweet that Kevin Mawai only played with the team for a couple years. And guess who tweeted me back and told me the true story? Kevin Mawai. Who mentioned the fact that he played with the Titans for 4 years and was on their all-decade team at center. And I'm like, if you played for the Titans for 4 weeks, you would have been all-decade at center because they didn't have anything else there. But yes, Kevin Mawai was badass, and the Titans have been trying to reach his level. They've been trying to reach the level of Steve McNair at quarterback, and Steve McNair's kind of a Hall of Very Good. Kevin Mawai probably should get in, although interior linemen, they don't seem to be very well represented. But anyway, getting tweeted by Kevin Mawai.
Well, the Titans have 2 interior linemen in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they drafted them back-to-back, and then they drafted, who was that guy at Alabama? I can't remember his name anymore. God, they took 4 years ago. He's with Philadelphia now. I can't even remember.
Chance Warmack.
That was one of the worst Titans drafts ever because they don't have anybody from that team on their roster anymore. And it's only 4 years ago, too. Or 5. It might be 5.
That makes me happy to hear that Kevin Mawai embraces his time as a Titan because it didn't end particularly well. And there were a lot of people who thought that it ended because of his association with the Players Union. But his career ended because of his association with the Players Union, which is probably true. But anyway, yeah. I think I think Kevin Mawae. No, this is his second year, though. I think, right?
I do not know. I know
think he
not of
was
such
on.
things.
Let me look. I think he was. He's absolutely just. He could have been and should have been probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was that good of a center, in my opinion. I think he's one of the best centers of all time.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a lean toward like offensive skill players. But you know who is going to be giving a Hall of Fame speech this year?
I heard Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis, yeah.
Told me.
Without, how much sports information would you have if I were telling you stuff?
This is his first time. First time. Yeah. Listen, I think that he's absolutely first ballot worthy.
Well, how many guys do they announce at this level? How many get in? Because I think 7 get in. I feel like that's the number.
I want you to know that in preparation for tonight's show that I actually got on the internet and looked at sports news. So I know, for example, that the Packers finally fired Dom Capers, who should have been fired 10 years ago, and are cleaning house.
Once they played like Colin Kaepernick one time and Kaepernick just ran all over him because they were in man defense. And then the playoffs, they did the same thing and he ran for like 200 yards. And that was 5 years. That was a lot of years ago.
Well, the worst part about that was Capers saying, oh, well, I didn't really prepare. We didn't really game plan for the read option, which is what.
Yeah. Anyway. That was back when that was like it worked with him. Offenses work when defenses don't prepare for them, but they're actually like cleaning house in Green Bay. Like, yeah, I mean, really, they just had an Aaron Rodgers injury, but I mean, there was talk about how I think when they made the Super Bowl, they had like 2 players in their rosters they didn't draft. Like the Packers had, for years we just draft players. We don't do free agency. And this year they dipped their toe into free agency and Martellus Bennett, and that thing just blew up in their face. Like Martellus Bennett didn't really play for them. And then they had that controversy when he left about whether he was hurt or not. And then he played for the Patriots for 1 week and he went in IR. So obviously he was hurt. But anyway, free agency's a big risk and can be a big failure. And that's probably a really good job. I'm interested to see who they pick up.
That's true. They historically have not, although they did sign Julius Peppers, and that was a very good free agent.
I mean, they fired everybody but like Mike McCarthy. Like they fired their offensive coordinator, they fired the defensive coordinator, their GM left.
They haven't fired the guy that I had been expecting to be one of the next hot commodities as an NFL head coach, and who might actually end up as the head coach of the Packers.
Mike Munchak.
Do you know he's interviewing for the Arizona job, or already did interview for the Arizona job?
No.
Yes.
Munchak?
Mike Munchak, yes.
Wow. Well, it does seem like the pool of owners. I know we talked a few days ago, so I may have brought some of this up, but it's been a few days. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of really top level guys that are available. Like everybody's all excited about Josh McDaniels. I don't think Sharona is, but there seems to be a short list of names. But there are 6 openings.
I just saw that the Lions fired their coach. That was
that. Yeah, they extended him for a year, but I guess 1 year, basically a 1 year extension. The NFL is a 0-year extension. Malarkey's actually got a 1 year left on his deal, so technically he's on the clock. So
Marvin Lewis back, baby.
That was strange. Didn't he say he was quitting and then 2 weeks later he gets an extension? I don't know. I'm guessing he knows where the bodies are buried. The NFL is so conservative. They just don't like taking chances. And it's like, we can take this very small chance of something being a lot better or it could be a lot worse. And they're like, nah, let's just keep the same. Just because they beat the Ravens, which, by the way, was one of the best parts of Sunday, was the fact that I kind of assumed that the Ravens were already in the playoffs, like that they couldn't play themselves out. And then when Andy Dalton basically rallied them for the Bengals for the win. And that meant that the Bills got in, which is great. 99 flashbacks. I mentioned it. The Bills, the Jaguars, and the Titans in the playoffs, all for the first time.
Crazy.
In a long time. And the Titans have been 9. The Bills, I think this is 17 years. And the Jaguars, there's some point in the David Garrard years they made the playoffs. They've never won the AFC South. That's how long it's been since they've been good. And the AFC South's been around for a while. But they did kind of back in, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean the AFC sucks. The Bills.
The
Bills weren't particularly good. They mismanaged their quarterback situation. The Titans weren't good either. It's just that all the other teams suck ass too, and so it's just kind of the luck of that's the way the ball bounces.
I think there's definitely this narrative that because the Titans didn't make the playoffs last year, but they did this year, that they're done better this year, and I just think the AFC's worse. I think they definitely would have been a more interesting playoff challenge last year, although their defense was definitely – I think their defense has improved this year. Their offense was so much better last year. Although Mariota kind of tailed off at the end of the year. Like, he had this crazy hot streak of 8 or 9 games where he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he just was putting up amazing numbers. And sometimes you get worried when those outlier performances happen and go, ooh, is that the best it's going to be? Well, probably this year. I don't know. I asked Jamal Isms, who has been on this show before, Eye Patch Dude, about what he thought about Titans in Kansas City, and he said he thinks Kansas City's got 4 shots, the Titans have 1. So yeah, that's probably about right. Titans are 8-point favorites. Titans are very highly favored to be the first team out of the playoffs because they play at 4:30 on Saturday. But they play another franchise that doesn't have a lot of playoff history. I was just looking for fun. I mean, I did live in Kansas City in the early 90s, so I was there during the Marty Schottenheimer years, and I was there when they won their first playoff game since Super Bowl IV, which was in 1991, and they had a run like them and the Oilers in the early 90s. 7 years, they both were in the playoffs every year, and they never did anything. The Oilers never made it to the AFC Championship game. That's hard to believe. Kansas City made it once. And it was because 1 year Kansas City played Houston, and they beat them with Joe Montana. And Kansas City had been so long since they won a playoff game that the Oilers were the last team they beat. And then 2 years ago, they beat the Texans. And last year, they had that game where they probably should have beat Pittsburgh, but they just couldn't, and they gave up all those field goals.
Well, they should have beaten the Colts.
And Alex Smith,
2 years ago.
I mean, Alex Smith had a great game against Colts, but yeah, that crazy rally with Andrew Luck. Remember when Andrew Luck was a thing?
I remember when he was good, baby.
That was so long ago, and yeah, that's definitely part of the intrigue with the coaching. But yeah, the Kevin Byard kind of came back. He had 2 interceptions, and now he has 8 interceptions, 10 turnovers this year. Every once in a while, it's pretty rare, the Titans actually draft a good player. Because he was a 3rd-round pick at MTSU. Drill Casey was a 3rd-round pick. The 2nd round doesn't seem to work so well, but the 3rd round, maybe 5 years or so, they get a good guy.
Bite your tongue. I will not have any Derrick Henry slander on this show.
And what a day. I actually think Derrick Henry had obviously, I posted when he was 3 for -15. I was like, I think he's still going to get a 100-yard game. And he got 100 yards total. It wasn't for the lack of try. I mean, he had an Eddie George-like workload. He had 28 carries for 51 yards. But by the way, man, if you watched, I don't know, Sharona probably didn't watch the game because she's smart. But it seemed like out of his 28 carries, on 10 of them, he was hit almost before the handoff happened. And there's the one play where he was kind of going outside and he bounced off a guy, then he turned around and lost another 10 yards. That was one of those you can't go to the corner store in the NFL type deals. And I don't know, Sharona, did you see that the Keystone Cops play? Because the Titans have at least one just total dumbass cop play every week, and it was It was like 15-3. Titans had the ball at the 30. They're about to put it away. Mariota and Henry had to miss something, and they ran into each other. The ball pops loose. Jacksonville returns it for a touchdown. And at that point, I'm like, they're going to blow this, huh? And they didn't blow it.
Mariota did Jacksonville pull their players?
No, they kept them in the whole game. I mean, Bortles threw a second interception to Byard at the end. The Titans had the ball with like 5 minutes to go, and Mariota actually faked out like 3 guys to get 1 first down, and then they like punted with 10 seconds to go, and that kind of clinched it. But it was the way the Titans have played all year. Like they like get the ball a couple times in the fourth quarter. Like, all right, this is where the smash mouth comes in, and they put the team away, and then they go like 3 and out. It's just tough, and there were drops. And I mean, seriously, Derrick Henry caught like a screen pass for 66 yards. The second leading receiver in the Titans was your man Delaney, and he had 2 catches for 19 yards. I mean, the Titans had like 250 yards total, and I think Jacksonville had like 200. They might have had about the same, but Bortles threw 2 interceptions. There was like a really weird at the end of the half where the punt returner for Jacksonville at the last second decided to block, and the ball hit him, and the Titans got the ball back. Like twice in the second quarter, the Titans got turnovers by the Jaguars, and they did nothing offensively, and they kicked field goals. But they could get away with kicking field goals because Jacksonville played poorly. The Titans defense played well, and they won 15-10, and nobody but Titans fans are happy about it. I don't know who they'd won. I mean, the Ravens could have been an interesting playoff team just because they have a good defense, but yeah, the bottom end of the AFC is not good. But yeah, this week in the AFC, so Titans against Kansas City.
Okay.
And that's the has Kansas City pulled out of their tailspin, or is it just because they've played AFC West teams the past few weeks? Because, by the way, they put Patrick Mahomes in, and guess what? That was the first win by a guy the Chiefs have drafted at quarterback in like 30 years.
Wow.
I think Todd Blackledge was the last one. And everybody's got that Pat Mahomes love.
Of course.
All those Kansas City Jinx, Sully type folks who were just loving on Alex Smith, and then in the last month weren't so happy with him. And they're probably talking smack, but I don't know. It's going to be a tough game. I mean, the Titans have to cover Tyreek Hill, and then they have to cover Travis Kelce, and Kareem Hunt. We'll see. Like, no one's been able to run against Titans, but Leonard Fournette sure had some good screen pass catches. I mean, that was really like the one offensive play that worked all day for Jacksonville. So we shall see. Alex Smith in the playoffs. You know, Mariota gets his first shot. By the way, I looked at stats, and you know, the 1999 Steve McNair season looks a lot like the Mariota stats, except for, of course, more interceptions, but pretty similar, you know. So we'll see. They're a 2-yard and 2.5 yard and a cloud of dust type team,
but for totally different reasons.
I think they could be. I mean, I think 99 defense obviously was better, but I think they could be Kansas City. But man, they could really get pounded by the Patriots. Or
there's no question,
Steelers.
But that the 99 defense was light years better.
I guarantee the Titans would like go to New England and they would like drive 80 yards, and then all of a sudden Mariota will start throwing interceptions in the red zone, and they're gonna, you know, would lose like 35-3, and then against Pittsburgh, we've already seen that game. I don't know if we need to see it again. That Steelers offense against Titans defense would be a tough one, but I don't know. I mean, as a fan of the team, it's almost like you get that, oh, you want them to lose their last game so they get a better draft pick. You're like, you know, if they do win another week and they want to change offensive coordinator, they'll have like a smaller pool to choose from. So that's I guess something to think about. But I don't know the players or the coach candidates well enough to go, oh, this guy would be a really good offensive coordinator for Mariota, because I just don't know who'd fit. We're going to bring back Doyle Loggains. He's looking for work. Yeah, Sharona's like, whatever.
You know, I mean, he was a hot new guy he was Josh McDaniels for a while.
I was like, I don't know if he was hot. I mean, he was very young when he got his first offensive coordinator job. I mean, he was like 30-something. But he's not done the McVay, Shanahan thing. So unlikely. But yeah, Titans are in. Very exciting. Playoffs are in. Will Sharona watch NFL playoffs or the college national championship game?
I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's not like I don't. It's not like I consciously say, "Oh, the NFL's on. I'm so not going to watch that." It's that I just don't have any desire, and I'm doing other things. I'm like, "Oh, I guess football's on. I could watch." No, no, no. I mean, it just doesn't. It just hasn't interested me.
I mean, it is quite a time consuming. Like, there aren't too many people who are just like diehard college and NFL fans because there's just so much on. You can't possibly watch it all. And you'd be watching games. You could watch games almost every week sometimes in the year. And that's what's tough about these next 2 weekends. You have the 2 games on Saturday and you have 2 games on Sunday. And that's 2 weekends in a row. And that's pretty much like your entire weekend. It's like, are you going to do that? And then the following week on Sunday, we have the conference championships, which is sometimes the best weekend of the year. And then 2 weeks after that, Super Bowl, and it's all over. And of course, why wouldn't you watch it? There's going to be no football.
I'll probably watch at least part of the Super Bowl. I have thought about that, and I'm like, well, I mean, it just kind of depends on who makes it too. Oh,
Titans, Panthers.
I mean, sure, I would probably watch that.
Not gonna happen. Yeah, Panthers are playing the Saints. Cam Newton's been like weird lately. Like, he has a really good game, and then he has just a crap the bed game. He had 3 interceptions against the Falcons. I mean, if Carolina won and the Saints lost, Carolina would have had, I think, the 4 seed, but they lost. But the Falcons got in. It's definitely a different playoff group because it's 8 out of 12 new teams from last year. And actually, both Super Bowl teams made it, which is pretty rare. But the Falcons are the 6th seed, and it's definitely going to be Atlanta fans. If you're an Atlanta fan going to LA to watch football, it's been a good couple of weeks because the Georgia Bulldogs just won the Rose Bowl, and Atlanta's going to LA, and LA doesn't sell any tickets, and I think they're playing in the Rose Bowl. There are a lot of potential tickets to get if you really want to go, but I bet a lot of empty seats are going to be for that game. But that's the Saturday night game, and the Titans are playing in the afternoon, so I'm trying to get Chuck, the League of Funk champion, Chuck, to hang out and watch because he was the guy I was watching the game with when the Titans lost the Super Bowl. And he was the one who gave me the famous penalty shot of pepper vodka. And he was a Rams fan, but since he is from St. Louis, he bailed when they moved to LA and decided to be a Falcons fan. But now his old team and his new team match up as the Falcons face.
Oh, wow, that's
Jared Goff in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The NFC definitely looks more interesting than the AFC. Yeah. I mean, Panthers, Saints, they've already played twice. Panthers still have the good defense. Their offense kind of hit and miss. I mean, they were showing, I think, Sharona's favorite site, of course. I think it was Pro Football Focus or something, and they had like the top 10 ranked rookies, and 4 of them were Saints.
For the record, I enjoy PFF. No, shut up and let me finish. I enjoy PFF. I follow a lot of those guys. I'm friendly with a lot of those guys. I think I like what they do. But they were wrong about the Titans offensive line, and I think that I have been proven right about that.
And they should all die in a fire.
And they should bow to my authority.
But it is definitely intriguing that the Saints had like just an incredible rookie class. I mean, it seemed like they hit on all the rookie picks. When Kamara, like a 3rd round pick, I mean, that's a pretty good one. And they had, I think, the worst defense in the league for the first 2 weeks, and they turned it around. And if the Saints have a good defense, I mean, the Eagles are probably the weakest looking number 1 seed in a while, just because Carson Wentz got hurt and Nick Foles is their quarterback. And the last 2 weeks of the year, I mean, for a while, I really thought that Philadelphia-Dallas last week was going to end in a 0-0 tie. It was 0-0 until like the fourth quarter, and Dallas scored a touchdown and missed the field goal or missed the extra point and won 6-0, which is somebody pointed out actually that the NFL, they had like the fewest touchdowns they've had. We were on an upward swing, and this year the scoring has gone down. So it's not just the Titans that aren't scoring any points or any touchdowns.
Everything's cyclical. Give me your Super Bowl pick. Who do you predict to be in the Super Bowl?
Well, it's going to be the Patriots because that's the time we live in. The Patriots are in. But the Vikings could host. You know, the Vikings are probably the best team in the NFC. I mean, I think if the Saints play the Vikings, it could, be a repeat of that Favre championship game.
Case Keenum,
I mean,
Case
2
Keenum.
weeks of Case Keenum versus Tom Brady talk. And you know what? Case Keenum might be playing better than him because Tom Brady's getting the MVP. It's going to him.
Case Keenum over Tom Brady.
It's a guarantee that Tom Brady's won the MVP, but he's been a little shaky the last few weeks. Like at the beginning they were playing the Jets, who was starting Bryce Petty at quarterback, and for like a half, it looked like it was an evenly matched game. But then the Patriots probably got some crappy calls their way, and they end up, winning easily because that's just what happens. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I feel like the Steelers could give them a run, but for some reason, everybody is just hyping like it's going to be the Patriots and the Steelers. I have a feeling one of those teams is losing. Like every 5 years, the Patriots lose a random game in the playoffs, and it usually is against the Ravens. So sadly, not this year. Like it's going to be tough to say who. I mean, Kansas City beat them in the opener, so they could beat them again. Jacksonville's just Bortles is not good. He had a nice run there for a while. And Jacksonville, really, though, if they had the lead with that defense, that really makes the difference. And the Bills I think LaShawn McCoy's hurt. And without him, I don't even know what exactly. Their backup running back was Marcus Murphy, who was a Missouri guy who I didn't even know was still in the NFL. And I was just happy to see that, like, 2 Missouri guys who were there during their SEC East runs, like, made rosters. Like in week 17, a bunch of guys make rosters that haven't been in a roster all year because it's like a preseason game. So it was fun. I got to see Russell Hansbrough in a game. Russell Mansbrough. I used to call him that because he always would get like 3rd and 1s.
Oh, by the way, I did see the big news that Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, and the other guy. So the 3 California quarterbacks are coming out.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a strong field this year.
People said that last year, and
I don't know. There was talk that was it Josh Allen, who's got a Wyoming, who got this love and then this backlash. There is no more crazy Twitter than like draft Twitter about quarterbacks. Like guys know who's going to be good, knows going to be bad, and you don't know because after last year, everybody said Goff and Wentz sucked. So give me a break. I mean, if a guy gets the number 2 pick support like Mariota and Winston did, they have a better chance of succeeding. Doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Well, I've still got was it Sports Illustrated, the Sports Illustrated cover where Russell Wilson and Colin Kaepernick were on it. And, it's a very attractive cover. I kept it purely, though, for other reasons than the fact that they're very attractive on that cover. But,
Beefcake.
Sports media tends to anoint these guys. I mean, they build you up to tear you down, and then there's no long-term thinking. There's no patience anymore.
Well, I heard Sam Rosen had a bad bowl game, and then
off my line.
Huh?
Huh?
Yeah. Well, I heard Sam Rosen had a bad bowl game, and then Mike Lombardi was talking about how he's clearly the number 1 guy, and then they're saying Josh Allen, who was with Wyoming and had a bad opening game, and I have no idea. I mean, it's like tall guy who can throw hard and he'll learn the playbook kind of deal. Josh Rosen, like, he actually seems like he might be able to like think a little bit. So I don't know if that'll work in the NFL.
Josh Rosen is my pick. He would be my pick.
Seems like he's got moxie. But there are lots of teams that need quarterbacks. Although a couple of teams that are really high don't. The Browns do have the 1 and a 3, which is definitely interesting. It's just take 2 quarterbacks, right?
They probably will. Don't laugh.
And they stupidly kept their coach again after going 1 and 31. Woo.
Oh, they won a game?
2 years ago. They actually were in a close game with the Steelers because the Steelers didn't play Roethlisberger, and it was like down. It was a 4-point game. Actually, Josh Gordon had a good game, but they did lose. So they won 0-16. Congratulations. But it was an odd week 17 because they had the 7 early games, the 9 late games, the craziness at the very end, apparently from, my parents and Josh Gunnels and the friend of mine who got tickets like a month earlier and was kind of pissed because he could have got them a lot cheaper. They all seemed to enjoy it. It was almost like a throwback because it was like a playoff game because they're not going to get a home playoff game unless they play the Bills in the AFC Championship game. That'd be awesome. I might spend some money to show up to that one. I would get the street free agent to come to that. It's unlikely, but it's a weird year in the NFL, so anything's possible. And there are 12 teams left, and none of them have been eliminated yet. So
you still haven't given me your Super Bowl pick. I mean, you went through this whole various scenarios. Give me a pick.
Vikings, Patriots, y'all.
All right. I'd watch that.
Do you nose in the playoffs?
I probably couldn't name them all, but I'm a big Minnesota Vikings fan, and if it is Vikings Patriots, I would give my left boob for the Patriots to lose.
It would be so perfect for just based on the Vikings history for them to like win a Super Bowl at home when they start 0-4. And it'd be even crazier if like Case Keenum got hurt, and like Sam Bradford, by the way, is actually active for the playoffs.
Oh, there you go. I did not know that.
Sam Bradford comes off the bench to rally the Vikings.
Able to impart information.
Or maybe like Keenum gets hurt, and then like Bradford gets hurt, and then Teddy Bridgewater, who hadn't played in like 2 years. Well, he did play a little bit this year. Comes in and like saves the day. And of course, Latavius Murray, you beautiful bastard, had to score 2 touchdowns the week after he had scored shit when I needed him in the championship game. But that's okay. It's not players' fault.
It's not. Don't blame and don't go in their mentions.
One trend that I've really liked that happened in fantasy football is, and I don't know if it started with Todd Gurley, but actually fantasy people who like won championships because of players will actually like find the players' charity and actually donate to them.
Huh.
And I heard that Bills fans donated like $30,000 to Andy Dalton's charity because he completed a 4th down pass to beat the Ravens.
I thought I saw that was 100,000, but okay, whatever.
It's still gone up. Bills fans got money.
It's still a funny story.
I know. Although just based on my coworkers, since I live in Atlanta and it's a Georgia dog country, and the fact that Georgia is playing in the national championship game in Atlanta, ticket prices are like more than Super Bowl tickets here.
I was really actually
Georgia hasn't played in 35 years in a national title game.
I was actually tempted, very, very tempted to get on Twitter and start trolling all the SEC haters who've been like, SEC is not good anymore, blah, blah. In your face.
Yeah, Tennessee,
in your face.
Tennessee, your new head coach is going to get a ring, possibly. And Georgia, I mean,
enjoy it. May be the only one you get, baby.
I ended up picking up, because I don't have like all the cable anymore. I picked up the like 1 week trial of YouTube TV, and I recorded the Missouri game, watched them get beat down by Texas. And then I watched the semifinal games, although I watched the second one like the next day because it was just like, it's too much, These games start too late. And the Georgia-Oklahoma game was just crazy. And Baker Mayfield is like the guy you will love to hate. Like, he was just like going up and down the sideline. Apparently in the first quarter they were up, and they were actually up pretty big. And he was like talking about how it was over. And then they end up losing in overtime. Oops. I mean, Oklahoma, their coach is like Sean McVay of college. Like, Lincoln Riley's like 34 or something. And it was 31-17 or 31-14 Oklahoma with 6 seconds to go. They did like this little onside kick, and Georgia recovered it, and they completed a 9-yard pass with 1 second to go and kicked a 55-yard field goal, and then they took it to overtime. So Oklahoma kind of like played their way out of it almost.
What about, is it UCF's perfect season?
I know, and if I heard UCF is claiming a national title because they beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl. Sometimes these SEC teams don't always show up, but they beat, and of course Scott Frost coach. It was so weird because Missouri's offensive coordinator got hired by UCF as their coach, but he didn't coach Missouri in their bowl. But Scott Frost coached UCF in their bowl. So I'm like, what did this guy do? Did he actually coach with the guy? Anyway, I don't think that's going to end well. But yeah, they won. They went undefeated, and they're trying to claim a national title. And I'm like, how about those 2 years Boise State went undefeated? Don't they get a national title? And you know what? What's good about college football is I had a book that had like the records of teams for like the last 100 years. And they just put a little asterisk and said mythical national champions because you didn't really have one because there were all these polls. And like 6 teams could claim a national title in like 1917 because there were all these different polls.
We see you, Alabama.
I think Missouri like claimed a national title because of one poll in like 1962, you know, and it's like, sure, go ahead. Why not? We do all these bowls that nobody cares about. Let them enjoy it, you know. They had Blake Bortles, y'all. UCF, come on. They beat Baylor a few years ago. It was back when their conference had an automatic berth, but yeah. It is kind of cool that I think in the 4 years they've invited that non-power conference team in. Like, they've won 3 out of 4. And they've actually won almost all of them. There was one year they made Boise State play TCU, and they were the 2 non-power teams. I was like, come on, man. Give a chance to play the real teams, you know. But it's cool. It's all right. Georgia's in. I mean, their running backs, it was kind of like Missouri against Tennessee. Their running backs were going like for 13 yards a carry. It's like, why were they passing the ball? So, yeah, they did pretty well. And they're in it. And Alabama, of course, smacked down Clemson. I have a Clemson alum coworker who's been going to all their games. And it sounded like a cold was happening. And I was like, yeah, because the whole country's under this crazy deep freeze.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. I was texting with my buddy from South Carolina earlier.
Yeah, they got like snowed pretty good, right?
It's bad there. And he was so I'd been thinking about it, and so I sent him a text. And I just said, hope that you're safe and warm. And he texted me back, and he said, we're good here. Hope all is well with you. I'm good. My team won the bowl game, and Clemson lost.
Right. Yeah, I guess South Carolina beat Michigan, and that was the only bowl game the Big 12/Big 10 lost, so I don't know. I didn't know. Like, it was the day after.
Been all right there.
The day after New Year's, people were talking about their teams and won bowl games. I'm like, oh, who won those games? Because I don't really remember.
Yeah, I heard that you might have pulled one on.
What's that? What's the term exactly?
Drunk.
Yeah, that's what it was. No, it was something went on. Tied one. Yeah, I tied a lot on. Yeah. I went well beyond the normal bounds. I was kind of like, okay, New Year's Eve, you know what? Titans are playing. Let's just have fun. And I had way too much fun to the point of much non-fun. So yeah, I'm taking a little break. I've got a nice stash here. I think it'll be perfectly fine if I, let it sit there for a while.
There you go.
And then we can, apparently, Sharona wants a reunion and drink. Of course, then she's having wine, which I think you should.
I finally got some Rex from Zach on sours, so
I did. mention one on Saturday, but it's okay.
I was going to stop today, but it was too early. Nothing was open. So the next time,
everything's open.
Listen, I've been up since 5:30. I had to do business early this morning. I was at the store buying a heater because it is cold, capital A, capital F here. And so I didn't stop at the beer store, but I will. But besides, I've got this very nice wine. I'm going to show you. Hang on, I'm not wearing pants. Let me hide myself.
By the way, Dwell Logains got hired to be the Dolphins offensive coordinator. So obviously he's still in pretty high esteem in NFL circles. I can't say the Bears were terrible. I mean, they had.
I think he's a better
receivers.
This is the wine that I'm drinking. I don't know. It's called Seven Deadly Zens. It's
one before.
Quite delish. So I think he's a better offensive coordinator than what the Bears showed.
He's been in bad situations. I'm pretty sure he was a guy like one of the Jake Locker years, and then the team got Mike Glennon and Mitchell Trubisky. So yeah, of course I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do at quarterback. Like they have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's come back from like his second straight major injury. Jay, I don't give a fuck. Cutler.
Yeah, really, he does.
Yeah, John Fox got fired and it was great. They were like, John Fox, the first coach in Bears history to lose 10 games 3 years in a row. I'm like, woohoo! I swear earlier this year that they had given him an extension, and I was like, oh man, they're going to be eating some money, but I guess not. But there is a coach opening that just happened like yesterday.
Oh.
And who is being considered for this job at the University of Arizona?
Oh, not University of Arizona.
Butch Jones.
Oh, University of Arizona. Oh, okay. Yeah, I read about
Rich Rod, and I'm still not sure. It's like, is this some kind of sexual harassment accusation that he's denying? Yes. But we'll see.
Yeah, apparently he's a big douche. I'm pretty sure that Rich.
I think it's like an excuse. Hey, it's an excuse. Our coach has not been that good. I mean, what they go like 7-6? Come on.
I'm pretty sure Rich Rodriguez was part of that coaching crew that I had to walk the gauntlet through to get out of this bar a few years ago, and there was much leering and blockage of my passage through trying to get out. So yeah, I was not terribly surprised.
I just had somebody on my Twitter account ask me if I'd ever put an apple pie on the big green egg and smoke it. No, that's something to try. I've not done dessert on my big green egg yet.
That sounds delicious.
I did make a chicken pot pie, but I didn't cook the pie part in the grill. I cooked the chicken in the grill, and then I mixed it and put it in the oven. That was my first attempt at a pie, and those prefab pie crusts were a little unforgiving, and they're a little thin. I may not have cooked it long enough. It's a little liquidy. After all those British baking show things, you think I would have learned something, but I did not do a good job with my pie attempt.
I'm about to make some quiche, and I don't use I do my own pie crust for that.
Well, I've done pizza crust, although if Chuck wants to host me, he has talked about, because he has a big green egg too, about us doing a pizza challenge. Of course,
there you go.
Chuck's gluten-free, so I'd have to get a different kind of flour and do a different recipe than I've done before. So I'll be totally outside my comfort zone. But you know what? That'd be a
what experience. Was somebody telling me earlier today? Life without risk.
Oh, what's that? I have no idea. Well, apparently I need to risk stuff and get a fancy pet toilet, according to the tweet you sent me.
Oh, by the way, I have news to share.
Toilet.
I have news to share that we'll have to wait and see, but I do believe that we might be about to have some little Iggy's.
Uh-oh. Has Iggy been stepping out?
Apparently, one of the boys may be not as fixed as we thought he was.
Oh no! Is there some kitty, not really incest going on?
Well, they're not related.
They're in-laws, or what is it? Step sisters. Let's not go there. That's not bad. They're 3 cats.
Yeah, Iggy's not related.
Brothers, one totally different.
Iggy's not related to Smokey and Bandit, and Smokey and Iggy have been like little lovebirds for a while now. So I'm sure that it's him. I actually got to witness some of their hanky panky.
I thought so. You didn't fix your cats, or what?
Did fix my cats, yes, but
Smokey's strong with the Force.
It doesn't take, it doesn't take a lot. Believe me, I know this, and so life finds a way.
So does that mean you're gonna have like 12 cats pretty soon, or are you gonna have to?
No, we're not. If in fact Iggy is going to have little iglets, we are not keeping the little iglets.
What about they're gonna be really cute?
They're going to be very cute, and we are still not keeping the little iglets.
Name them after your favorite Titans. Come on, McNair.
Delaney.
Come on, Jake.
Delaney.
Oh, stop
Javon.
limping, Jake. Vince Young. No. Put your shirt back on. Wait a second. That's different. I did see Vince Young on the sideline during the Texas Missouri game. Just don't accept the invite to the Texas Bowl, Missouri. You always get your butt kicked when you go there.
Vince isn't one of my favorite Titans, although I don't dislike him. Steve McNair is in the top 3. I mean, Javon Curse is probably the number 1. Javon, Steve McNair, Keith Bullock's in the top 10. Delaney's in the top 10. I liked Jason Jones. I always liked him. He's in the top 10.
Seems like he played with a few teams.
He had a very good career, even after the Titans let him walk. I enjoyed Eddie George.
Chris Henry.
Jarek Mason. Yeah. Chris Henry. I liked Michael Griffin. He wasn't nearly as bad as people made him out. Chris Hope.
Right, if a rare free agent that actually worked out.
David Thornton. And Kevin Mawai. I would pick Kevin Mawai in there. And of course, Mike Munchak and Bruce.
Bruce Matthews a coach anymore? Like he was, I think he wasn't the offensive line coach for like the Texans and then the Titans, and kind of went back and forth.
He and I forget. So he and another one of the, I think one of the Matthews, they started an O-line school, I think.
That makes sense. Since like I don't know how many Matthews there are, but there was one guy who kept.
There were a shit ton, and
he was like the Titans' third string center for like 2 years and just never did anything. And he may have actually played in like one game, but
I mean, Bruce Matthews
so many.
Bruce Matthews would have been he was an all-pro at every position on the offensive line. So, I mean, it made sense.
It is such a disappointment that the Titans had like the same line from last year, and they were just kind of rubbish. I mean, they definitely weren't the unit they were before.
Well, they weren't that good last year, but people were I mean,
not so great. Senator, well, Titans have just had bad centers post Mawai, like, so to have a decent center, like, it's functional, it's like, that's great, we'll take it.
Yeah, I think Ben Jones is good. Ben Jones I think he's a fine center.
Okay.
Has he been hurt this year?
You suck as a hater, you know that?
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I'll have to. Is this my cue to hate on Taylor Lewan?
Well, I'm guessing he's probably going to get a big-ass extension this offseason, so that'll be nice. I remember the 5 minutes when he was Mr. Anti-Bullying. It turned out he was anti-bullying for someone who might have been faking the fact that they were bullied. So that made it even perfecter. Yeah. If you do it yourself, you might want to actually admit that and then, use that as a story to maybe turn things around. But nah, just pretend you've been a good guy the whole time.
I sense I've missed a story that I probably don't want to
Well, there was a story about a kid who... Fine, don't be that way. Fine. So do you have, since you haven't watched Titans play in like 12 weeks, you have a hot take prediction on this week's game in Kansas City?
It would probably, yes. I predict that Alex Smith is going to have a very good game and that the Titans secondary will not be able to handle the Chiefs offense.
Yeah, once they lost Sims, and Sims had like the key interception in that last Kansas City game that they really should have lost, but they won. They got it. They're going for 2 from Malarkey. It was like, well, at the time maybe it was the right call, but going for the actual play they called him going for 2. I mean, every time I see the Steelers run those funky 2-point conversion plays, I see they like practiced them. Whatever the hell the Titans ran was just awful, but they did win. But Logan Ryan, I think, might play. So they could be down cornerback. It's not like the Chiefs have what we call an exciting pass offense, but hey, Tyreek Hill is going to get behind that defense at least once. Just a matter of Alex Smith hitting him, and he's been pretty good at it this year. So yeah, it could be one and done, but it's been a good year. I cannot say it's been that great. It's like at the end of that Buffy episode where they say the end has come and we've kind of won. It's kind of how it ended up for the Titans.
Well, I mean,
the key is the full off season for Marietta and what are they going to do with the coaches and what's going forward,
Well, that they made the playoffs is definitely noteworthy, even if they did backdoor and aren't very good. But, still, I mean, it's the playoffs.
It's the playoffs, and Sharona's probably not going to be watching, but that's okay.
I don't know. I mean, again, it's not like...
I'll send you a text.
Yeah, I mean, were you disappointed that Jody spilled the beans? You couldn't tell me tonight?
No, I mean, I saw the tweet. I kind of forgot about it. I was like, I think she probably knows. I mean, come on. They're Houston. They're a team he used to follow.
I did not know.
A couple people remembered that I still kind of pay attention to football, so that's nice.
I did not know until I saw Jody's tweet.
It's nice to be remembered. And it is kind of weird that I was on that show Saturday night and actually was me and the Bills guy, and the Bills fan was not in any way thinking that they were going to make it because they did need to win and then they needed the Ravens to lose. And that happened. So there you go. Tyrod Taylor, baby. He's probably still going to be somewhere else next year.
Listen,
they're dumbasses.
Bills fans they're still dissing Tyrod Taylor. I just,
I mean, give him a damn receiver, everybody.
Jim Kelly ain't walking through that door. Jim Kelly, as much as I like him, is so fucking overrated by Bills fans. It's not even funny.
Wow.
And if I were an NFL quarterback, the Bills would be the last team I'd want to go to.
Well, I think they were the last team Jim Kelly wanted to go to. He just had no choice, and then he ended up liking it because they had a good team, And by the way, this week is the 25th anniversary of Houston blowing a 35-3 lead, and it's also the 18th anniversary of this guy
losing his
head. Greatest lateral ever, Mr. Street Free Agent. It's a lateral. Go drink some more beer. Anyway,
Bills fans are still salty about that.
I don't think that. I think they probably would have lost Peyton next round, but it's okay. I understand. But they did bench Flutie. If Flutie started that game, maybe they beat the Titans by 2 touchdowns, Rob Johnson. Rob Johnson. Oh, boy. Rob Johnson was like the...
He Who was the coach?
Their head coach was Wade Phillips, who actually is the defensive coordinator for the Rams this year. That was probably the best coordinator hire of the offseason. Some guys just have to know your lane, and Wade Phillips, defensive coordinator, definitely his lane. But when you're a really, really, really good coordinator, you're going to get a shot as a coach. And when you just don't do it as a coach, well, such is life. You're okay. You're going to be fine. I know Sharona's going to be fine, right? Your kiddies aren't going to be fine because there might be more.
Hopefully, there are no kitties in here right now, so it's. Oh, I didn't get to finish, so I won't tell you the whole story, at least not on camera, because we won't have
Didn't
time.
get to finish. That never happens. Continue.
I had to rescue Iggy. She was acting so weird. She's nesting. She's acting like she's nesting, and she wasn't feeling good earlier. So she got in here, and I don't even know how she did it, but she got underneath this nightstand over here, got in underneath there. I had to pull this top one off. Not fun, not easy. Lift up this bottom one and get her out.
Oh, my cats wedge themselves in, but they can figure out a way out, huh?
Well, she was not coming out.
Have you taken her to the vet? Do you check? I mean,
I have
you
not.
get the little stick and it's got like 6 little cat prints on it. She's positive.
She's acting more like herself tonight than she was earlier today, and so I'm thinking, well, maybe she's just getting fat. So if I'm watching her very closely, and if the next couple of days, if I think I'm right, I'm going to take her in.
Okay. That's definitely a dramatic event for you.
It's definitely a dramatic event.
So what are you working on now? Are you still working on that one article, or no? Yeah?
It's still out there to be worked on, yes. Yeah, I'm gonna finish that.
We'll
I meant to tweet out my coaching article because it's got a lot of relevancy to a lot of these changes that are going on, and so
you should tweet. Like, I swear, when we did our show on Saturday, that you were like 700 tweets from 200,000, and now you're 850. Are you deleting tweets? Is that possible? It seems like you're getting fewer tweets every time I check. It's very odd, but you still, you're within 1,000 of 200,000. So
I'm not
7-8 years, you're going to be there.
I'm not deleting
at your
tweets.
Current rate.
But some hanky panky may be going on because my Facebook account. Somebody's been trying to hack my Facebook account again. So I had to go through and change passwords there. It's like, periodically somebody tries to hack my website, my Twitter, my Facebook. It's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. And I think I just saw a review for the X-Files, and I think it fits the Titans 2017 season.
Yeah?
The X-Files re-returns, and it's not as bad as it might have been. The Tennessee Titans, they're not as bad as they might have been because they could have lost. And if they had lost, yeah, they would have been out of the playoffs because the Chargers won, or the Ravens or the Chargers would have been in. So they would have been over. So they did win when they had to, and they made the playoffs. So Jarrell Casey talked smack about Blake Bortles, which is always fun.
So the Titans won, and they fucked the Chargers. That's good.
Chargers kind of fucked themselves. I think they showed that they lost 2 or 3 games on a missed field goal at the end. So they really could have made it. But yeah, Sharona SCN on the Twitters and Zach_Law. I have to finish up this here article that will be going out hopefully this month, and then maybe we can talk about it on a future episode. We'll see. It has nothing to do with sports though, so I don't know about that. Anyway, thank you again, Sharona, for being on and being patient because I was a little bit late doing it back-to-back tonight. And so good night, everybody. And sorry, Don, I didn't say hi yet. And enjoy your wine and kiss my grits.